Hi, welcome to this very quick tutorial on how to run your 3x3 event using FIBA 3x3 Event Maker. I'm going to give you a quick introduction about me, but first of all, I want to say thanks to Basketball England for giving me the opportunity to do this, and thanks to you for being part of this. Just by logging into this video and watching it means that you're making the right steps to create your 3x3 event and do it on the FIBA 3x3 event platform. When I started running events, I didn't realize that this platform was available or how to use it. And it's so simple and so easy, and it will help you. And not only that, you're going to create a better event, but also you're creating opportunities for players too. And they're going to be able to jump onto the system, onto the FIBA 3x3 system, create a profile, get ranking points by being part of your event. And you're going to do a lot of good stuff for people in your local community and for the players that you're bringing into your event. So congratulations to you for taking that first step, and thanks to Basketball England for allowing me to give you this very quick introduction. So I'm Martin Dyan. I run the GG3x3, which is the UK's biggest one-day summer tournament. We're also a platform for using 3x3 basketball to drive positive social change. I'm also the general manager of the London Warriors team, which is the only semi-professional 3x3 team in the UK. In this session, we're going to go through how you set up an event as an event organizer, what you should be doing in order to plan for that event, also some really cool features on the FIBA 3x3 event platform, Event Maker platform, that you can use whilst you're running your event, and then eventually what you need to do afterwards. It will be about 20-25 minutes, so it's not a particularly long video that you have to sit through, and hopefully you get a lot of use out of it. I would just like to say I'm not IT support, so despite the fact that I'm in a little basketball studio in London, if you've got any really hard, complex questions about using Event Maker, the FIBA 3x3 digital team is really, really responsive. So you can email them at 3x3digital at FIBA.basketball, that's right. And there are also some really handy tools which I'll show you as well. So I am going to share my screen and we're going to get into it. First things first, the first thing I want to show you is here. You should be able to see this lovely screen that I've got here, which is showcasing the event maker here. Sorry, the event maker kind of Q&A, if you like. It's a really simple, sorry, an FAQ is what I meant. It gives you lots and lots of information. So essentially what you're going to see here is loads of questions that they kind of feel like people are going to need answering anyway. So loads of stuff like, how do I get started? What's a premium subscription? So if for any reason after this video, you're like, I'm not sure about one thing, or you're setting your event up, just go to this FAQ section. There are 3 pages worth of information. So it's definitely worth going into that one. What I would also say is, in case you are interested in the rankings of events, so for example, how the rankings work of your event. So for example, a regular all open event is what they would call it, would be an olive, for example, and a world tour would be a black or a level 10. You'll get certain points for that. If you scroll down on this quick guide, this FIBA 3x3 quick guide, you'll see how many points your teams will get for being ranked 1 through to, so on, 2, 3, 4. And how many points you get. So the higher level of event it is, the more points players will get being part of your event. That's just something that you might be interested in seeing. It's not essential to you running your event, but I thought it was worth throwing out there because there are a lot of really, really good FIBA 3x3 resources available. All right, cool. So I'm going to close that off. So the first thing to note when you're creating your FIBA 3x3 endorsed event is that you need to have a player profile. You can't create an event unless you have a player profile. It's actually quite useful to have this anyway, because you can see the process that players will need to go through in order to be on your event. So you'll go through to play.fiba3x3. There'll be a sign up page and you kind of put in your details here. Now I've already done this. And once I did that, I set up a demo email address. And you'll see here, so this is my email address that I've set up for this. It says, hi, Martin, congratulations, you've now got a profile. And it tells you all the things that you need to do. So you can locate and register endorsed events. But as an organizer, you can now access the freeware. And that's what this video is about. Cool. All right. So, and that's kind of what it looks like. So here is what it looks like. You've got the confirmed profile because I clicked that link on the email and now it's confirmed. I got my picture here, a nice little cover image here, and it'll tell me my ranking points. Players will see those ranking points go up after they've been in an event, because once it's been officially published by FIBA 3x3, then they automatically get those ranking points from your event, which is pretty cool. Cool. So let's click off that. And actually, I'm going to go to that home screen first, actually. So this is the home screen. This is the email address that I've set up for this video, and I'm going to sign in. Now, just so you know, as a reminder, there's loads of kind of resources and reminders that kind of help you as an event maker for when you're making a 3x3 tournament or event. The reminder of something like you need to make sure you've got a profile in order to create your event. There's an FAQ link here. So as you go through the processes, if you've got any questions, it's actually just really handy because the links are right there. Cool, we're going to sign in. And as soon as you sign into the Event Maker for the first time, you're going to ask to put in some extra details, such as kind of contact details. But once you've done that, every time you re-sign into it, you are going to come up with various different items that you can read through. Some of them, if you're creating your very first event, you don't need to worry about reading through absolutely every single one, but they are really useful tools. And again, as I mentioned, FIBA 3x3 really want to provide you with the resources before you even need to get in touch with them, which is pretty cool. I'm not a representative of FIBA 3x3, just so you know, but I love FIBA 3x3. I love the game. And that's why I want to grow it as much as possible, because I really see the opportunities for everyone, whether you're an event organizer, a player, a coach, a content creator. There's a lot of opportunities, and we're doing some really big things in the UK. So just so you know. All right, cool. So now let's say you've gone through that bit. You can see this icon here, and you're going to click down on the arrow. You're going to hit Manage Organization, and it's going to come up with this part here. So I've got my example here of Test 4BE. And here we've got my address, 3x3 Land, my city, London, and it will come up with a list of events or anything that you run here. You can also change your logo. And one important thing that you might want to consider is the payment option. And this is how you might want to get players to pay for their team registration. You can add a new account here by clicking on this button, and it'll take you through to this section. And through PayPal, there's advice on how to get your API in order to validate that PayPal so that it goes into your account. We're not going to do that for now. And just to let you know that sometimes when I run my events, it depends on whether I'm going to be charging per player or per team. That's really going to be up to you. So you can decide how people pay as well. Maybe it's even cash on the day, who knows? All right, cool. So now we've done that, you can also create, you can also kind of add in organizers details. So you can create yourself as an organizer. But the most important thing here is actually the staff member button. So scrolling down here, you can say add staff member. I'm going to type in my buddy Alfie Palin, who's played in the events and is now one of my lead volunteers for the GD3X3. And you can click on him, and you can add a user, and he will therefore be able to log into the system himself. So you won't need to be logging in, and on your laptop, for example, he just kind of log in through his own profile, which is pretty cool. All right, we're going to go back to the overview here. And you see here that I've already created a couple of test dummy events here. This is the best event, and this is the best event ever. Once those have been published, once they're made official by FIBA 3x3, they will come up, they will be in a certain color. And then you can kind of go into them and look back at the scores and the events and print stuff out. For now, these aren't official, they haven't been published, and therefore they're not in a certain color. So the best thing, what we're going to do is I need to move myself here. We're going to create an event. So this is essentially your step one is creating your own personal profile on the FIBA system. Then the second thing is to log in using the Event Maker, using that profile, and you're going to log in your details, change whatever you need to do, add in a payment system if you want to, add in a staff member, and then go into creating the event itself. All right, cool. So we're going to create the event. And that's the organizer. I'm Test for BE, and the name of the event is going to be the best event in the world. There we go. Exclamation mark, exclamation mark. Now, today is the 5th, so we're going to do, the event is actually going to start tomorrow. So we're going to do the 6th of May, 2023. It's going to be a one-day event, May 2023. And here's the description. When you go through this system, this is a really cool part. All of this is the back end. This is all the technology behind running the event. And what's going to happen is as you're adding in teams, as you're adding in a schedule, as you're putting points in, at the front end, so that's the bit that everyone else can see, they're going to be able to see all this detail. So the stuff that you type in here will actually show up when you send over a link to players to register through the event. So we're going to say, this is the best event you'll ever be to, or you'll ever play at. Let's put that, you'll ever play at. Cool. And you can add in your site URL. I'm in London. No, not Canada. There we go. Let's change that, shall we? Right, I'm in London. Cool. And again, the event is going to be at 3x3 land. I'm going to accept the endorsement terms and the data is correct. So on these endorsement terms, this is basically what FIBA 3x3, how they want you to run your event. So, you know, equality, you know, be fair in how the event is run. I'll let you click on those terms so that we don't spend loads of time going through those T's and C's, but it is worth noting them when you do it. So we're going to confirm and we're going to create our event here. And hopefully, there we go. The best event in the world. There we go. That's our new event right there. Now that we've got that, we're going to click edit. And it's going to take us into this section here, which gives us categories, courts, team scheduling, results, publishing, reports, widgets, and to do. This to do function, I actually find super, super handy. In red, it will tell you exactly what you need to do. So if you've missed something out, courts, categories, then it will tell you. And it eventually at the end of the session, you'll see about how it changes and how there's green items for stuff that you've done correctly. So we're going to go to our overview. You notice how we've got no teams registered, no games. We're now going to go to categories and we're going to create a category. So here we are creating a category here. And we're going to call it Challenger. You can see I've already made that up. And we're going to put, say, 14 to 17, for example. There are different types of registration. You can have an individual player registering a team. You can have all team members having to be part of it. You can be, and this is one that I use sometimes, which is public, organized, confirmed. What that means is that teams that enter, you can see if they've got 2, 3, or 4 players. You can see who they are, and you're able to message the captain as well. And it's a really handy way of ensuring that you're registering teams into the tournament when you want and the right teams. And, you know, for example, as an event organizer, if they haven't paid, for example, you can instantly not allow them into it. You can also unregister teams, but we'll get onto that too. So the registration, we're going to say started immediately, and the registration end will be tomorrow on the 6th of May. The number of teams, because we're going to create an example of just a very short event, we're going to have a very simple event. We're going to have 10 teams here. You can put in the fee, you can put in your currency, and you can put in whatever the payment system is that you've got there. Now we're going to create the category. That is now created. Cool. So now we've got our category, we've got no teams in there, we will get onto that. And now we're going to create our court. So you can just create one court, you can create multiple courts. This is quite handy if you've got more than one court. Obviously, a single court in 3x3 basketball is a half court. So make sure you're conscious of that when you're putting this in. So we're going to say add court, add court. We're going to have 2 courts for this. So 10 teams, 2 courts. You can click on this button here, and you can change the name of the court. And also you can change, you know, whether it's on plastic tiles, whether it's on concrete. So if you're outside, if it's on a wooden floor, if you're in a gym. And now we can create the courts here. You can call them different names as well if you wanted to. All right, now that we have done that, we are going to go into teams. Now, for teams, there are ways that teams can register. So what will happen is if I go into this overview here, as I mentioned before, this is the back end. On the front, what people are seeing, you can click on this link or you can send this link round, and you're going to show people this is what they're going to see. So players and teams are going to see this. There you go. There's our overview there. It tells us where it's going to be. And it should show us here. Yeah, there we go. 40-17. There's 10 out of 10, and you can register a team. I'm just going to go through the process of creating the event, but it is worth giving yourself a bit of time just to kind of go through this process of registering the team too. But it's very, very simple. As long as the players have a FIBA 3x3 profile, they will be able to register their team. You need to make sure of that because that is essential for you to be able to run your event efficiently and for them to get points. And on a macro scale, it's much better for us as a nation, for everyone to be playing the game and for players to be earning points, because they can then compete, and who knows, maybe they'll be top in the nation and be able to represent England or GB. Who knows? But this is definitely a great first step. All right, we're going to go back into this section here. We're going to go to teams. Now, there are two ways of doing this. So first of all, you could, in theory, add an existing team. As I mentioned before, I'm the GM of a team called London Warriors. I'm going to put in London Warriors here. And as an event organizer, I can automatically add in this team to my event. So here we go. There we go. There's Challenger. It'll come up with different categories. I'm going to add team and go to overview. Our team is in there. Hooray. You can also register a team, which as an event organizer, you might want to do if you've got younger people that you're running an event for and they're not sure how to create a team or whatever the case may be. You can ensure that they've created their FIBA profile, their FIBA 3x3 profile, but then you can add their team and you can give them team names as well. Sometimes as an event organizer, it's a lot easier to do that. So what we're going to do in real time is I'm going to start creating teams, and we're going to create these 9 other teams. Obviously, we've got the Warriors in there already. Here at the bottom of this, you're going to type in the name. So again, we're going to go to my guy Alfie, and it should come up on the FIBA system. Yeah, there he is. We found him. We clicked it once. He's now in the team. Now we're going to do this again. So we're going to delete that. We're going to go to my other guy, Scott. I know he's got our profile as well. Hopefully that'll come there. There he is. And now we've added him as well. You're going to go and create those teams using that system. We're going to register the team to the event. Of course, with FIBA 3x3, you need 3 people on a team, or 4 if you've got a sub. So make sure that you've got those listed. If teams are registering themselves, the team lead captain will be you'll be able to see some contact details for them. So you'll be able to get in touch with them, which is really handy. Also, you'll note here it says team ranking. We're going to get onto that, and team ranking, and also it gives seeds as well. So you're going to be able to see how to organize the teams, which we'll get onto very soon. So there you go. We've got 2 teams in there now. I'm going to register another team here just for the sake of it, just to make it very quick. We're going to call them, there we go, the dummies. We're going to register the team to the event. Again, this was just purely for the demonstration. There's our 3rd one. Cool. And then we're going to go, that should take us back to teams. That's our 3rd one. And then we're going to go through and we're going to create 10 teams. All right. So I'm going to, here we go. So just to save you some time, I'm going to stop the share. I'm going to pause the recording for a second. I'm going to create 10 teams. Okay, so I've created the 10 teams. I'm now going to share my screen again, and you're going to be able to see all of the teams here on the system, right? So we've got our 10 teams in the event. Now, what's interesting is that if we now go back to that kind of front end system, and we refresh the page, what should happen is we'll see the categories are now full, and we'll also see that there's a list of, or that there will be eventually a list of teams in there. If you had the profiles, it would list all of the teams in there too. Now, the schedule obviously isn't there yet, and we're going to get onto how you do that. And obviously, you're not going to be able to register because all the teams are full. So let's go back into this section here. And now we're going to go into this tab here, which is scheduling. So we're into schedule. You can see that there's nothing being scheduled yet. I'm going to create, edit, schedule. And there are going to be 2 tabs that you're going to see in this that are going to be really important: setup and games. The first thing you're going to want to do is go to the setup. You've got your category here. When you've got different categories, they come up as different colors, so it's really handy. And we've got 10 teams. They're going to be 10-minute games, and we're going to set apply. And here, the system is automatically going to come up with the pool round and the knockout round. By the way, it's just started bucketing down behind me, as would be typical in London. So if you can hear it, my apologies. But we're going to crack through anyway. All right. here on the left-hand side, as I mentioned before, you can see the seeding numbers. So what's interesting is that a team that has played, for example, that has played an event before will be seeded. And it's quite handy as an event organizer to know who could be seeded top. So as you're dragging them across, I'm going to show you what I mean by that. But as you're dragging them across into the pools, you can create your event in a fair way, which is quite nice. So we're going to create pool rounds. Now here it automatically comes with 3 rounds, A, B, and C. But I'm actually going to just to make life a bit easier, we're going to have 2 pools. And for the knockout rounds, you see it could go straight into the finals. But instead, what we're going to do is we're going to have 8 teams in our knockout rounds. What that means is in my event of 10, 2 won't make it through to the knockout rounds. Make sure that you'll see here there is a red triangle. It says some categories can't yet be saved due to missing seedings. You need to click through to top 4 advancing. You see how that triangle's gone? This is now telling the system, or the system is essentially helping us, telling us how the event is going to be structured. You can scroll across here, semi-finals, finals over there. Now what you need to do is you need to drag these teams manually into your event. And this is how they're going to be going in. Now, of course, you could split them between pools. If you know the players, you know the teams, you want to make it a bit more even, you could do that. We're just going to put all of these guys in here. And we're then going to save that. And the system will now save that. And that will also be on that front end. But before I show you that, I'm going to close. I'm going to click on games. This is a really handy section of the site. It will not only put the games into the system for you, but once you click save, it will go up on the actual section here. So on the schedule here, which is really cool because it means that people in real time will be able to see who they're playing against. And when the scores go up, they'll also be able to see the scores too. So it's a very, very clever and very handy way of helping an event organizer. Cool. So there's 2 ways of creating this schedule, if you like. So the first thing is you could just drag one game and then put it across, or you can put it back. But a simpler way of doing it is to click on every single one of these. I'm going to click on all of these. And we're going to drag them across here. Now, remember, you need to click off this before you click on the next set, because otherwise you're going to be moving every single one of them, including the Pool A game. So just make sure you click off. We're going to bring these over here, and we're going to put them here on court 2. Now, bear in mind that a game is 10 minutes long, and you probably need a little bit of time in between for your players to go off the court and for others to come on and make sure your table officials have marked everything correctly. So what I would say is just make sure that when you have done that, is just to consider how much time you're going to need in between how much time you're going to need, in between your sessions. You can also, which is quite an interesting thing, add in an activity. So for example, let's say you've got a dunk contest. You can also add that in as well. Dunk contest in here. And I'm not sure if you can hear it, but the rain is really coming down behind me. But you can drag that across there. And that's all, and that's going to be our games. But you noticed how this is all the pool round games. So now that we've done that, we can now go into our knockout games. And we're going to say put our quarterfinal games beside each other on both courts. We're going to give them a bit of time on this occasion. And then our semi-final games, perhaps you want that on one court. And then our final game here, we're going to scroll up here and add in our final game. We're now going to save that. So now that we've saved that there, we're going to close that. And that is now your schedule sorted, which is awesome, because that means that once we go in here, hopefully you're going to see that, oh, wait, it hasn't been added yet. Okay, here we go. That schedule should be updated. Oh, not yet. Okay, all categories. I'll make sure I've got that right. Here we go. Let's go back here. I think it may end up needing me to refresh that. All right. I'm going to assume that has come up on the schedule. It should have come up on the schedule. Let's go back into scheduling and make sure we've got it right. I actually have no problem at all with going through this because we just want to make sure that we've got it correct. Let's go in here. There we go. All right. That wasn't me panicking for a second. All right, cool. Now we've got the schedule. And that is now up. You can now send that to everyone that's there. This is the bit where it really kind of like, I really would like to say that it's really easy to put the scores in, to publish the tournament if you've got someone on hand at the event. Now, I know that goes into a little bit more of kind of the event organization, but I would suggest what is a very, very handy thing to do is to ensure that you've got someone with a laptop on the day plugging in the scores. So here are our games, and we're now going to go to edit, and these are all of our games right here. What will happen is you'll notice here these are grayed out. That means that we can't enter the scores there until we've entered all of these scores right here. So give me 1 second. I'm going to enter in, here we go. We're going to enter these in right here. Let's put in some different scores for each one. Notice here it said invalid result. That's because we need to have a score in here. It's a very clever system. Let's put that in there. Let's create that. Let's put that in there. Let's put that in there. All right. And we're going to go through the whole thing. And as you're going through this, it is worth noting that every time you save it, it will come up for the individual players. And so they can see essentially what's happening in the games and when they're scheduled. It's just very, very handy as an event organizer. You see how now we're able to go into this. Sorry, we've still got a few more to go. Didn't realize how many games we've got. So we've got 10 teams playing against each other over to, again, notice how I pressed that by mistake. All right, so I'm gonna finish up this, and then eventually I'm going to show you what it means for it to be the knockout rounds, the semi-finals, and then the finals. All right, so now I've created all the scores. I've inputted them in. Every time I've gone through, say, the knockout round, I've saved it, and then it then allows me to go to the semi-finals and then save those scores. It now allows me to enter the final scores, and now I'm going to share my screen so you can see what it looks like. There you go. That's how it looks like now. So these are all the scores inputted. I'm saving the results. And there they are on there, which will also be reflected in real time in the schedule. So there we go. It's going to refresh. Oh, I realize I need to refresh. That was me trying to be smart. Let's try and refresh that here. Oh, I think it probably, to be fair to the FIBA system, it does take a couple of seconds because obviously we put in loads of scores. So let me just refresh that. Tell you what, we'll go back into it once we've given the system a bit of time. It does do it, I promise. Well, I think we just need to give it a minute for the system to recognize, and then it goes to that front end. But it will show up for the teams for sure. So just a couple of things that are really handy to have when you're running your event. Again, this is going slightly into the event creation itself, but you can have a schedule matrix, which is really handy. Create English. We're going to show report here. We're going to save it to my desktop, and I'm going to bring it up. I'm going to stop sharing the screen so that I can then show you a different screen. So I'm going to show you a different screen because there we go. We're going to share you the document right here. There we go. And now you can see actually that this matrix is really handy. As an event organizer, it's really cool because you can print it out. It's really good for volunteers. If you have more teams or more categories, they'll have a different colors in there. Maybe they'll be on different rows. It's really good. You can print it, put it around the court, give it to table officials, give it to your MC. However big or small your event is, I find that this is super handy. Let's go back into the event itself. There we go. So we're going to cancel that. We're going to go back into score sheets. Here on score sheets, this again is really cool. You can click all if you wanted to, but I'm just going to show you one of the games. Show report, and it automatically will put your logo next to the FIBA 3x3 one, and this is the score sheet for you in your court. Now, here right now, it's crossed these out because we've already run the games. But if you haven't run the games yet, you haven't inputted the scores, you can print this out. It'll be all clear. Obviously, some levels of games and events will be more complex than others, so you may not be counting fouls or team fouls and stuff like that. But it's just really handy, and it makes it feel like a way more official event by having these type of score sheets. So we're going to go back to event here, and it's just really handy to have those. And you can also, one more of these is brackets, which is really cool. And again, this will happen in real time too, so you can actually print these brackets out as you're running your event. And here you can see the scores and what's happened and who the final winner is. Again, just something nice if you want to screenshot it, you want to print it, export PDF, you can send it around. It's quite nice as an event organizer to be able to have these tools. So, okay, we're going to go back to event, and we're going to go to do. And you'll now note that we've got our green that I mentioned before, the court setup, the schedule setup, the results. It's really cool. There are widgets, so there are sort of tools that you can use to embed into your website, so you can help with registration and show the scores and stuff like that. They're actually really, really cool. There we go. I told you the system just needs a little bit of time. And then you see here, it just shows all the scores as well, and it shows the court time, as I mentioned before. So it's just quite nice. It's a nice way of being able to recap and recap the event, and if people want to see back at their scores, see who was the best team, whatever. At the end of this, at the end of running your event, congratulations on running your event, you're going to click this button, which is Make Official. What that does is it puts all of the scores and all of the standings, it creates our point system, our ranking points, it sends it over to FIBA, and FIBA 3x3 team then review it and will then grant your tournament as a kind of an official tournament, an official status tournament. And then the players will get the points. So the players that have been in your event will then get the points. What is very, very important and super, super crucial is from the day of your event, the date that your event finishes, you only have 48 hours to ensure that you have made your tournament official. So if, for example, something's gone on with scoring, or I don't know, something may have happened where you haven't had time, you like to really like to put it all together or to make it published, you've only got 48 hours. If you don't do it within the 48 hours, you won't have an official event and your players won't get the points. So it's really crucial that you do that. Please make sure that you do that. You're going to click official, and then that is going to go through, and then eventually your once you've gone back to your overview here, which is kind of that overall overview, this will then be called an official event, and it will be in that color that I'd mentioned beforehand. Cool, there we go. So that is how to create your officially endorsed FIBA 3x3 event. Sorry about the random rain and hail that happened behind me. Hopefully it wasn't too distracting. and hopefully it was really useful to you. I really believe in 3x3 basketball. I think it's incredibly accessible. It's a fantastic way of getting players and getting a local community engaged in the game. And it is super, super fun. And as an organizer, hopefully the tutorial, that kind of short advice video that I've given you will give you a kind of a good indication of just how easy it is to create your event using that system. Of course, there are loads of other elements about creating a tournament. So if you ever want to get in touch, I was going to use this opportunity to plug myself. I may as well. You can find me on Twitter at Martin Dyan, or on Instagram or TikTok at MartinD3x3. And you're very welcome to see anything regarding the tournaments and the GG3x3 tournament and the platform that we use, which is at the GG3x3, and for London Warriors at London Warriors 3x3. Thanks very much. I hope you enjoyed the session. I hope you found it useful, and good luck with your event.